Historic icons: Galileo Galilei, the astronomer who challenged the church. Picture a young boy in Pisa, Italy, in the late 1500s. He's curious, a bit rebellious, and fascinated by how things work. This boy, Galileo Galilei, was born into a world where everyone believed the Earth was the center of the universe. The sun, the moon, the planets, and all the stars revolved around us. This was the word of the ancient philosopher Aristotle, and more importantly, the doctrine of the powerful Catholic Church. But young Galileo wasn't one to just accept things. He questioned everything. Growing up, his father, a famous musician, wanted him to study medicine. It was a respectable, well-paying career. So, Galileo enrolled at the University of Pisa, but his heart wasn't in it. One day, he found himself watching a chandelier swinging in the cathedral. He timed its swings with his own pulse and made a startling discovery. No matter how wide or narrow the swing, it always took the same amount of time to complete. This was the law of the pendulum. He was hooked. Physics and mathematics became his true passion, much to his father's dismay. He eventually left the university without a degree and started tutoring mathematics, his brilliant mind already working on problems that would change the world. His early career was marked by ingenuity. He invented a device called a thermoscope, a forerunner to the thermometer, and a military compass that helped soldiers aim cannons. He became a respected professor, first in Pisa and then at the prestigious University of Padua. He was known for his brilliant lectures and his hands-on approach to science. But the most significant turning point in his life came in 1609. News reached him of a Dutch invention, a spyglass that made distant objects appear closer. Galileo didn't just copy the design, he perfected it. Within months, he had built a telescope that could magnify objects 20 times, far more powerful than any other in existence. He was a man with a new, powerful eye. And where did he point it? Upwards, towards the heavens. What he saw there would shake the foundations of his world. For centuries, people believed the moon was a perfect, smooth sphere. But Galileo's telescope revealed a rugged, mountainous surface, full of craters and valleys. Not unlike Earth, he saw that the Milky Way, that hazy band of light across the night sky, was not a cloud, but was made up of countless individual stars, too far away to be seen with the naked eye. These were incredible discoveries, but the most shocking was yet to come. When he turned his telescope to Jupiter, he noticed 4 tiny points of light orbiting the giant planet. He tracked them night after night. They weren't stars, they were moons, circling Jupiter just as our moon circles the Earth. This was a bombshell. The geocentric model, the Earth-centered universe, insisted that everything orbited the Earth. But here, clear as day, were celestial bodies orbiting another planet. This proved that the Earth was not the only center of motion in the universe. This discovery gave Galileo the confidence to publicly support a controversial theory proposed decades earlier by a Polish astronomer named Nicolaus Copernicus. The Copernican model, or heliocentrism, suggested that the Sun, not the Earth, was the center of our solar system, and that all the planets, including Earth, revolved around it. This was a direct challenge to the established scientific and religious order. Galileo published his findings in a book called The Starry Messenger. It was an instant sensation across Europe, making him a scientific celebrity. He was invited to Rome to demonstrate his telescope to the church's top astronomers and cardinals. Initially, many were impressed, but as the implications of his discoveries began to sink in, a storm started to gather. The idea that the Earth was just another planet, hurtling through space, was deeply unsettling to the church. It contradicted several passages in the Bible that seemed to describe a stationary Earth. To challenge this was to challenge the authority of the scripture itself. Powerful figures in the church began to view Galileo's work not as scientific progress, but as heresy. In 1616, the Catholic Church officially condemned the Copernican theory. The Holy Office declared heliocentrism to be foolish and absurd in philosophy, and formally heretical. Galileo was summoned to Rome and warned by Cardinal Bellarmine, a powerful church official, to no longer hold, teach, or defend the Copernican theory in any way. Galileo, faced with the threat of the Inquisition, had little choice but to agree. For a while, he fell silent on the matter. But Galileo was a scientist, and a passionate one. He couldn't simply ignore the truth he had seen with his own eyes. Years passed, a new pope, Urban VIII, who was an old friend and admirer of Galileo, ascended to the papacy. Galileo saw an opportunity. He believed he had the Pope's permission to write a new book, one that would discuss both the Ptolemaic Earth-centered system and the Copernican Sun-centered system, as long as he presented it as a hypothetical debate. In 1632, he published his masterpiece, Dialogue Concerning the Two Chief World Systems. The book is a brilliant conversation between three characters. One argues for the Copernican system, another defends the traditional Ptolemaic view, and a third, neutral character listens to both sides. While Galileo technically presented both arguments, it was clear which side he favored. The arguments for the sun-centered universe were sharp, logical, and convincing. The arguments for the Earth-centered universe were made by a character named Simplicio, which means simpleton in Italian, and his reasoning was often portrayed as foolish. To make matters worse, Pope Urban felt that Galileo had put some of the Pope's own arguments into the mouth of Simplicio, which he saw as a personal insult. The reaction was swift and furious. The Pope felt betrayed. The book was banned, and Galileo, now nearly 70 years old and in poor health, was summoned to Rome to stand trial for heresy before the Inquisition. The trial was a terrifying ordeal. Faced with the threat of torture and a painful death, the elderly astronomer was forced to get on his knees and formally renounce his beliefs. He was forced to abjure, curse, and detest the error that the sun is the center of the world and that the earth moves. Legend has it that as he rose to his feet, he muttered under his breath, "I per si move," which means, "and yet it moves," a final, defiant whisper of truth. While this story is likely a myth, it perfectly captures the spirit of Galileo's unwavering conviction. He was not executed, but he was sentenced to house arrest for the rest of his life. He spent his final years at his villa near Florence, under the watchful eye of the Inquisition. He was forbidden from publishing or having visitors without permission. Despite this, and his growing blindness, likely caused by his long hours staring at the sun through his telescope, his mind remained sharp. He wrote one of his most important works, To New Sciences, which laid the groundwork for modern physics. It had to be smuggled out of Italy and published in Holland. Galileo died in 1642, still a prisoner in his own home. He was buried without honor, but his story didn't end there. His courage to challenge dogma with observation and evidence laid the foundation for the scientific method. He showed that science must be based on what we can test and prove, not on what authority tells us to believe. He fought for intellectual freedom, the right to question, to explore, and to follow the evidence wherever it leads. It took the Church over 350 years to finally admit its error. In 1992, Pope John Paul II formally acknowledged that Galileo was right and that the Church had made a mistake in condemning him. Today, Galileo is celebrated as a hero of science, a martyr for free thought. His struggle reminds us that progress often requires challenging the status quo, and that one person, armed with curiosity and courage, can indeed change the world. His legacy is not just in the stars he observed, but in the spirit of inquiry that he ignited, a flame that continues to light the path of discovery to this day. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more stories about the icons who shaped our world. We'll see you in the next video.